Good morning. Today's video, I want to give you my top 3 reasons why I think more and more people should grow their own fruit and vegetables. Now, there's probably some reasons maybe why you aren't growing your own fruit and vegetables. One such reason is it's quite a lot of work. It can be a lot of hard work. Another reason is you might not have enough time to commit to vegetable growing. It can take a lot of time. And a final reason is that possibly you're worried that it's all going to be eaten by slugs anyway. Slugs can be a real nuisance. However, despite all that, the benefits definitely outweigh the cons, and let's get into the reasons why. Now, my first reason to grow your own fruit and vegetables is for taste. Now, a lot of people say when they bake something, it tastes better when they buy something, and with vegetable growing, it's a little bit like that. Because you've grown it yourself, you're going to perceive it to taste better, but there's actually some science to this. Now, I went to Asda yesterday to pick up a few things, and I happened to sort of have a look around, see what was sort of available vegetable-wise. And for carrots, for example, there were 3 different types of carrots. There was an organic one, a normal one, and then there were some baby carrots that you could buy. And that's all well and good, but all of those are bred and designed to prioritize storage and transport and uniformity. The level of taste they prioritize is fairly low down the list in what they're looking for when they're commercially growing carrots. Whereas when you grow your own carrots here, they might not be the most uniform, and I might have an example here, but what I'm prioritizing here is taste. And the way you prioritize taste, really, when you grow your own vegetables, is to choose the variety that suits you. This carrot here might not store as well, it might not be as uniform, and it probably wouldn't transport very far before it spoils. However, the taste of this carrot is at least 10 times better than the taste of the store-bought carrot. Now, before I go on, it's worth saying that not necessarily all fruit and vegetable taste widely different, but things like carrots, these ones here, strawberries, parsnips, Brussels sprouts, things like that do taste a lot different to what you can buy, and it's just simply down to the variety. So we're going to look at some seed packets now. So having a quick look through what I had, I ended up having about 5 different varieties of carrots. Châtenay Red Cord 2, Royal Châtenay 3, these are sort of smaller, sweeter carrots, Carrot Resistor Fly, Carrot Flyaway, and the other one was Early Nance, which is an early form of carrot. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that if you grow your own vegetables, especially from seed, you've got so much choice for variety and therefore taste. And it's all about trial and error, and eventually finding a seed that you really like the taste of and then growing it more and more. And I just, for an example, will bring out this pumpkin here. This is a Burgess Buttercup pumpkin. Definitely not something you can buy in the shop, but the taste of it is incredible. And I'll put a little picture of what it looks like inside, but turning it into pumpkin soup is an absolute autumn favorite of mine, and it's all because I can prioritize taste. Now, the next one is definitely one you will have probably expected me to talk about, and one of the reasons I like to grow fruit and vegetables is for my sort of physical and mental health. So starting off with the physical, the great thing is if you're growing your own vegetables, it means you're probably eating vegetables, and it's good for your physical health. But also there's an element of exercise with gardening. Like here, I've got loads of compost that I need to shovel and spread onto beds. So I just need to be shoveling it. And the great thing about this is it's not particularly, hard work. It's not like going for a 10-mile run or going to the gym and lifting heavy weights. Almost anyone can sort of do this, and therefore it's nice and accessible. Now, in terms of your mental health, it's also beneficial. But for that, I want to talk about some scientific articles that I want to share with you. Now, in terms of sort of mental health, there's obviously lots of science out there that, researches this and investigates it. And there's lots of sort of what I would call pseudoscience, potentially. Things like there's lots of research on colors. For example, there's evidence that suggests the color blue is relaxing, color red is exciting, and the color green brings equilibrium. And to be fair, there's some sort of maybe facts in that. When I look at, healthy green plants, I do feel quite calm and at ease. But what I want to talk about here is the science of it. And nowadays, GPs, doctors in England and things, are even prescribing gardening as a beneficial method for mental health. So there's obviously must be some science behind this for doctors to be getting involved. So went on to Google Scholar, typed in some searches and came up with some articles. Now the first one I want to talk about is probably the best one I found, which is a meta-analysis of 22 different case studies. Some of these case studies have thousands of applicants. A lot of them are questionnaires and things, but what it looks at is how it differs between gardeners and non-gardeners in terms of anxiety, depression, PTSD, general stress, and things like that. And what it shows really, and with lots of evidence, and I'll put it all up on the screen and I'll put a link to it in the comments section as well, or in the description, is that gardening has a statistically significant impact on people's mental health, a beneficial impact. And they look at lots of things of like confidence intervals and lots of statistical analysis which proves this. So a really compelling argument that gardening definitely has some effects on people's mental health. The next article I want to talk about is about a sort of physiological response to gardening. So there's lots of articles on the internet about a bacteria, Mycobacterium vaccae, and it's a soil organism found commonly in soil, like this stuff I've got here in my hands. And what a lot of the papers have tested is that with mice particularly, it causes an increase in serotonin when it is ingested or absorbed through the skin. So that's a really interesting fact, because obviously when you're gardening, I mean, I've got gloves on today, but I don't always have gloves on. I'm constantly contacting soil. There'll obviously be little bits that get under my nails and things. So not only from a physical perspective in terms of improving my immune system, but also if this is true and it is increasing the serotonin, I'm going to feel happier generally because I've got more sort of serotonin being uptake by the receptors. So yeah. Now the final reason, and to be fair, the main reason I grow my own fruit and vegetables, is because it is a really easy method for lots of us to reduce our carbon footprint. Now, the goal of self-sufficiency and growing all your own fruit and veg is a really, really big task. I think even if I committed my entire garden, which is quite large, to growing vegetables, I would struggle with the time to do the upkeep. I would probably be deprived of some nutrients where I'm having to eat the same old fruit and vegetables depending on the season. So the goal of self-sufficiency is a really large goal, not something that many of us can achieve. But what you can achieve is subsidizing your meals with homegrown produce. And what that's avoiding is this sort of air miles and the unnecessary packaging, use of pesticides and chemicals and things like that. Now, one interesting article I will quickly talk about is that the production of nitrogen fertilizer has the biggest sort of carbon impact than any of the other sort of agricultural aspects. So whether that's transporting and things like that, the actual production of the nitrogen fertilizer is the biggest impact on sort of greenhouse gases, etc., and our sort of overall environment. So by growing your own stuff organic without any sort of fertilizers and things, you're massively helping to reduce. And like I said, while you may not be 100% self-sufficient, the little bit that you do here and the little meals that you subsidize and with homegrown produce is going to make a big difference if everyone started doing it. The other thing I'll just say on that is, once set up, if you save your own seeds, if you make your own compost, you can get to the point where the actual inputs coming into your garden are fairly low, and you haven't got any of that packaging of compost bags and things like that to sort of worry about. Now, those are my top 3 reasons why I choose to grow my own fruit and vegetables. There are other ones, such as, I don't know, avoiding pesticides in their food, or just wanting to be out in nature more. And those are really valid reasons as well. So this is just my list. But yeah, I hope you like this video. And if you do, don't forget to like and subscribe.